Last July, UE joined millions of workers in sending a letter to President Biden demanding that he immediately cut U.S. military aid to the Israeli government in order to bring about a peaceful resolution to this conflict.
We mentioned that the Canadian postal workers are on strike right now, and that the Palestinian Postal Service Workers Union had expressed their solidarity with the striking Canadian postal workers. So figured that it would also be a good opportunity to give a quick update on what's going on there, since unions have been supporting increased action against Israel's assault on Gaza. Particularly, there was a vote to block offensive arms to Israel in the United States Senate, put forward by Senator Bernie Sanders and supported by several U.S. labor unions. Adam, what was the latest on that vote?
Yeah, I just wanted to pull from the UE, United Electrical, and they have been a really vocal advocate around this issue and helped form the National Labor Network for Ceasefire. So they put out a release a few days ago. Vote to block offensive arms to Israel fails, but proves that movement to end war is growing. So it was, I believe, over a week ago now that the U.S. Senate considered 3 joint resolutions of disapproval proposed by longtime UE ally Senator Bernie Sanders of Vermont, which would have blocked U.S. sales of offensive weaponry to the Israeli military. The resolutions, in Sanders' words, quote, are aimed at offensive weapons that have been used to devastating effect against civilians in Gaza and Lebanon. They would not affect any of the systems Israel uses to defend itself from incoming attacks. In his remarks on the floor of the Senate, Sanders told his colleagues that the resolutions are supported by some of the largest labor unions in the country, including the SEIU, the United Auto Workers, and the United Electrical Workers. He also pointed out that poll after poll shows that a strong majority of Americans oppose sending more weapons and military aid to fuel Netanyahu's war machine. Last July, UE joined 6 other unions with a combined membership of millions of workers in sending a letter to President Biden demanding that he immediately cut U.S. military aid to the Israeli government in order to bring about a peaceful resolution to this conflict. Prior to this recent vote, the National Labor Network for Ceasefire, of which UE is a founding member, mobilized unions and union members across the country to send over 600 letters to their senators demanding a yes vote on these resolutions. While the resolutions failed to pass, Sanders was joined by the other independent in the Senate, Angus King of Maine, along with 17 Democratic senators. It's about time that members of Congress begin standing up to the administration on this issue, said UE General President Carl Rosen. We welcome the support of these 19 senators, but it is a shame that the majority of the Democratic caucus, along with every single Republican senator, continues to endorse the use of U.S. weapons to slaughter civilians. Following the vote, Kevin Karazian, senior policy advisor at the advocacy organization Demand Progress, said that, quote, supporters of this destructive war will try to claim victory, but even they know that today's vote proves that the movement to end the war is growing across America and in Congress, and we won't stop. Senators from states with UE members who voted in favor of the resolutions are Senators Sanders and Welch from Vermont, Warren and Markey from Massachusetts, both senators from New Mexico, Durbin from Illinois, Helmy from New Jersey, Kane from Virginia, King from Maine, Shaheen from New Hampshire, Murphy from Connecticut, Smith from Minnesota, and Van Hollen from Maryland. So really, disappointed to see, the lack of support for Senator Sanders' resolutions. Seems to me a very reasonable ask, right? Stop giving offensive weapons to a country that is actively committing ethnic cleansing. It is the legal thing to do by international law, by American law. But so far, we have seen no movement from the current administration and no indications that things will get better with the next administration. So I do applaud Senator Sanders and the UE in particular, as well as other labor unions who have been speaking out forcefully on this issue. And obviously, we're going to have to keep speaking out even louder.
Yeah, the National Labor Network for Ceasefire is made up of unions representing approximately half of U.S. union members. So that is, it's cool to see the movement on this issue and labor, kind of being at the forefront of, the anti-war movement, where that's not really, labor has not typically been there in the past, and particularly as it relates to Israel. So it's good to see this, movement, and unfortunate to see it fail. Notably, Tim Kaine from Virginia. I think Tim Kaine has really kind of been a standout among moderate Democrats on this issue. I mean, he was boycotting Netanyahu's speeches like a decade ago, which is way before it became even remotely possible or remotely popular to do something like that. So
right, yeah, and I've got a lot of disagreements with Tim Kaine and a lot of his politics,
right.
But credit where credit is due. He took the right vote here, and I mean. It really is a shame that you can't garner a majority to take a stand against genocide, but that is the state of our Congress today. And I agree. I'm very proud to see labor increasingly, and a majority of labor, it seems, really standing on the right side of history.
You just saw a clip from the Valley Labor Report. We are live every Saturday morning from 9:30 a.m. till 12:30 p.m. And we pride ourselves on keeping all of our content free to everybody so that we can talk to as many working folks as possible. If you support the work that we're doing, you think that it's important, you think that it's good, then consider making a monthly contribution to the project, and you can do that on our website, tvlr.fm.